Hi guys, good day all of us. Today I want to talk about how to develop the passion we need for 2023 because 2023 is going to be a great year for some people and it's going to be a gloomy year for some of us as well. Now, the factor that determines whether it's going to be successful or gloomy, it's not the economy, it's not the government, it's not what's going on in the outside world. Rather, it has to do with what is going on inside of you. So if you develop passion or if you have passion for what you're doing, then success is for sure. But if you don't have passion for what you're doing, then you may find yourself in a great difficulty. Now, before I go on to talk about passion, I want to define what I mean by passion because sometimes I come online and I see a couple of people who tell you don't follow your passion, you don't need your passion for you to be successful in life, you don't need your passion for this, you don't need passion for that. I think that comes because sometimes we have misdefined or misrepresented what passion means. So I'll start by defining what is passion. The root source of the word passion comes from suffering, emotional suffering, that you suffer because you understand that at the end of the day you're going to be successful in what you're doing. But it actually comes from the followers of Jesus Christ, whom because after the death of Jesus Christ, a lot of the disciples were hunted down and killed. So a lot of the disciples of Christ, or a lot of his followers, were actually in hiding. A lot of their Christian meetings were held in secret places, in caves. Some people had to relocate from cities to other cities just to hide away from the law. Because in certain places, if you are identified as a Christian, you will be lynched immediately. So they now developed the word passion because the more these people were persecuted, the more they were killed, the more they suffered, the more their determination, the more their zeal, because they understood that life is going to get better at the end of it. So it's not about the present moment, rather it's about the end in view. Okay, so passion has to do with you going through challenges, going through the grind, going through unpleasant things, simply because you know that the end will be better than the beginning. In the business world, we say you can start small but don't remain small, grow big when you start small. There's a saying in America that where you are going is greater than where you're coming from. That simply means that your tomorrow will be brighter than today. So if we exchange the word passion for delayed gratification, which I'll define delayed gratification by you delaying the enjoyment for later and suffering now. Let's take, for instance, you wake up in the morning, you have a laundry to do. Maybe you don't use a washing machine, you have to do it yourself. You have the dishes to do, you have to clean the house, but you also have a note to copy or you have some documents to prepare that may involve one or two kind of research. Now, maybe ideally, you like doing research, you like anything intellectual. So, most times, for most people who procrastinate, what they do is when they have tasks to do, they start with the enjoyable ones. Let's take, for instance, you like doing research. So you start with doing the research. Maybe by the time you do the research, 3, 4, 5 hours, you've arrived at your result, you've done your assignment or your project or the work that you're supposed to do with respect to your office or something. Now, by the time you're through with this, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're weak, you don't feel like doing anything more. So all the remaining tasks you have to do is abandoned. You say, okay, maybe tomorrow I'll do it. Then tomorrow you wake up in the morning again and you have a workload of tasks to do. Now, you automatically start with the ones that are easier for you or the ones you love. You keep the other ones behind. So before you know what's happening, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you now have a lot of work on you. And these are unpleasant work that you try to run away from. But if you apply the principle of delayed gratification, now when you wake up in the morning and you have a project to do, you have work to research on, but you still have the laundry to do, you have the dishes to do, and you have to clean the house. Delayed gratification means that you first of all do those other works, like you do the dishes, clean the house, do every other thing that you have to do. Then even if you're getting a bit tired, because you actually love doing research, the love you have for the research will propel you to do the research. When you do the research, you achieve a good result. Even if you don't finish it, but you have done it. Now, the benefit is that you have suffered in the beginning, but you have enjoyed in the end. That's delayed gratification. So, passion also is another word for delayed gratification. Now, why you can be super successful in 2023 if you apply passion to what you're doing is simply because in life, whatsoever we care enough to put our will behind, whatsoever we love so much as to invest our time, invest our money, invest our resources, invest those things that matter to us, what happens? We achieve results. Okay, I'll give us a little illustration. Now, in my home country, Nigeria, you could see a young man who has nothing. What I mean, he has nothing. He's not even living in his own apartment. But he can fix a time and say, before the next 1 year, 6 months, I'm going to get married. Now, maybe he finds a wife and somehow he starts preparing for marriage. Now, at the end of the day, this guy may spend as much as 1 million or 500,000 for his wedding. Now, this money, he did not generate it by effort. That's by his work. Sometimes some people give him money. Sometimes, out of the blue, something just came into his hands. Now, some of those people who give him money do not give him because they have enough, no. But rather, sometimes because of the determination they see in him, then they give him something. And before you know what's happening, he gathers here, and he's done his marriage. That's simply because whatsoever we care enough to put our willpower behind, I use the word willpower. Whatsoever we care enough to put our willpower behind, we succeed in it. Now, willpower is another word that some of us have issues with. Now, okay, I'm going to define that to an extent again. Willpower does not imply that you're forcing yourself to do something. First, before we talk about willpower, I think in life, you have to discover your calling. You have to discover who you are. Because if you don't discover who you are, you will forever loaf around. You'll be a wanderer. Now, when you discover who you are as the first principle of success, then you apply willpower towards achieving your goals in that career or in that endeavor. Then your willpower becomes active. But if you choose a career, maybe because you've seen people are super successful financially in that career. Now, this career is not your calling. You are not called into this. But because you have seen the vanity or the material things, the toys that people buy, because those people into this profession or into this career are buying these things. So you now venture into it. But it's not your calling. What will happen is, at a particular point in time, when the challenges of that career hit you hard, because every career has its own challenges. Now, for you to surmount the challenges of every career, it has to come from inside. Your inspiration has to come from inside. Maybe that's what some of us mean by when we say one with God is majority. Because when you're one with God, being one with God implies that you have made peace with God or with a higher power or with however you choose to understand it. Now, but when you make peace with God in your heart, by obeying your calling, the reason why you were born, then you become a majority. Then you can become super successful. So what that, if I relate this to willpower, what it means is that when you have not discovered yourself, when you are working just to be super successful financially, because success is not really about money. When you walk and you come to that bridge where the challenges of the career or the profession hits you hard, no amount of willpower will make you scale through. If you like, force yourself, do everything you can, take all the nut-ups you can, take all the energy boosters you want to, do everything, read all the motivational books, listen to the best motivational speakers, you will remain where you are. And you will quit that thing you're doing. When you quit it, you will jump to another area where you have heard that people make money from. When you jump to that area, the same thing will repeat itself in the future. So you quit again. That's why quitters never win and winners never quit. So you need that determination, you need that strength, you need that courage for you to apply your willpower to what you are doing. When you apply that willpower to what you are doing, which is your calling, what happens? You get in at a point in time, because work makes the power grow. Repetition brings about power. You acquire power over what you're doing. That's why you prefer to give your tools or your machines or your electronics, you prefer to give it to an electrician or a technician who has spent 5 years in the profession than giving it to somebody who just left his apprenticeship a month ago. Because you believe in this one, that due to his association with this particular thing over the years, he has developed some level of power that enables him to become a master in the field. So whatsoever we care enough to put our will behind, we create success in it. We've seen the case of marriage. If we look at another case, now we're all adults. We can walk, we can talk, we can run. But we were just born an infinite lump of flesh who can't do all these things. We were thought to walk. We were thought to read. We were thought to talk. Now let's assume that we lack the willpower to continue learning to walk. Maybe after the first day we tried to walk, we fell down. We tried again the next day, we fell down. We tried the third day, we fell down. If there's no willpower, what happens? We stop learning. And what happens? We become crippled for life. That's it. Very simple. So, for you to be super successful in anything, just as 2023 can ignite or can begin the journey of your success, you need a massive amount of willpower to be able to maintain that passion that you have for what you are doing. Now, when you maintain the passion, success follows you. But if you lack the courage, to move in the line of your calling, you may never achieve the success you're looking for. Why do I say so? There's a lot of courage required to become who you're meant to be. Like when I discuss with a couple of people or some of my clients that are in the workforce, working where they're receiving salary, a lot of them are not comfortable with their jobs. A lot of them have discovered their calling, but they lack the courage to venture out there. Because when you venture out there, you're a hustler. And what about the days that you don't have so much clients? What about the early beginnings that it's going to be very rough for you? That's going to be very rough for you. A lot of people don't have that courage to venture into this thing. So what happens? They remain in the prison of their work, their job. And sometimes that success they desire elude them in life, because throughout life, even if they acquire so much money, but they are never happy inside. So you need that courage. You need courage to be able to walk in the line of your calling, because walking in the line of your calling is the first key to success. It's the first key to success. Now, in my father's house are many mansions there. That means a lot of us come from different areas. You don't have to judge anybody. Your calling can be in to become a mechanic. Your calling can be to become a businessman and a super businessman. Your calling can be to work in a company where you are efficient and make the company grow. It is your responsibility to find out where your calling lies. But when you find out your calling, stick to it and develop that passion for it. Now, sometimes, as it happens in life, you may find out that where you are is not where you want to be. Let's take, for instance, you want to become a big businessman, own chains of companies, employ thousands of people and all that. But you happen to find yourself in a place where you're serving a master who's not even a businessman. Let's take, for instance, you're in a mechanic workshop. Now, passion here has to do with you building the passion for this. Now, where does the passion come from? The passion comes from the fact that you understand that there is somewhere you are going. Where you are is not where you want to be. And if you don't perform very well where you are now, you will never be successful enough for you to venture into where you want to go. So what do? You develop passion for where you are and build yourself to that point where you become efficient in the profession. Because when you're efficient, you attract greater success. You attract the finances that you need for you to venture out into what you want to become. So this is where we may now talk about developing passion for what is not your calling. You can do it. You can do it from the inspiration that it's a temporal thing. There's an author I read his book who always emphasized that whatever challenge you're going through, just calculate how long you're going to go through that challenge and look beyond that time and be happy for that time. Let's take, for instance, you're going through difficulty and you're going to go through this difficulty for 3 years. Now, in your mind, imagine after the 3 years, the 4th year, the 5th year, see yourself in the success you envisage. Then use that success as an inspiration to perform better where you are. So with this now, you're now performing exceedingly fine where you are. And when you perform exceedingly fine, then you'll be successful there. When you're successful there, more responsibilities will come to you. And sometimes you may find out that certain lessons you need or certain skills you need for you to function where you're supposed to be, you will learn it in that place where you are. You may not be able to see very well, but maybe there are people or there are experiences you're supposed to gain while you're where you are that will prepare you for tomorrow. Because in life, we say that life is the greatest teacher. And life is the greatest, in the school of life with unending lessons. Every experience we gain and everybody we meet plays a role in molding us into who we will ultimately become. That means that every experience you have and everybody you meet has a lesson for you. Some people will teach you a lesson by being in your life, and some people will teach you a lesson by being out of your life after they have been there. Some people will teach you a lesson by hurting you, and some people will teach you a lesson by educating you about life. Maybe through their actions, through their advice, through everything. Some people will hurt you by coming close. Some people will love you and some people will hate you. But you're going to learn a lot from all of this. Okay? So, learn a skill if you have not yet discovered yourself, or if you don't have the resources you need for you to launch out into where you want to go or what you want to do. Learn a skill and become efficient in that skill. Develop the passion that you need to be super efficient in that skill. Because, like I said, whatsoever we care enough to put our will behind, whatsoever we care enough to put our willpower behind, will manifest. Because there's a universal law in existence, which is thought, action, and results. That's the the 3 steps of success. First, you think out everything. Even if you want to build a house now, you just think it out, then you get people to draw what you want. Then the next thing you spring into action by paying people money to build it, or one way or another, getting a construction company, they build a house for you. And at the end of the day, you have the success you desire. Why? Because life is super successful. We're created in an image that can never fail. Hence, whatsoever you find your hands to do, your hands are filled with blessings. Because as a human being, we understand that we have a mind and nothing is impossible to those who believe. If you believe, you can manifest anything you want. You can manifest anything you need, not the things you want. If you believe has to do with faith. It has to do with the right side of the brain. the imaginative, the visualization, the creative thinking you have. When you do this and it's in line with your calling, you'll be super successful. Because everything you see was once thought to be impossible. But those things were made by people like you and I. So also, you can also do yours. Because the truth about life is that you have a truth inside of you. You have a greatness inside of you. You have something that no other person has. You have what it takes to be successful. That's why you are even incarnate at this time and in this space and in the country where you are or in the place where you are. Okay, so I want you to believe that 2023 is going to ignite, or it's going to rocket boost you to somewhere. All it takes is for you to remember your habitual excellence, which I talked about in one of my previous videos. So look at yourself. Buju Banton said something in one of his tracks. He said, walk like a champion, talk like a champion. Okay, see yourself as that champion. Walk like this champion and talk like the champion. Believe you're a champion because you have what it takes. You have the passion, or you can build the passion to develop a successful 2023. You can have 365 days of success. Yes, you can. If you believe in yourself and if you walk towards it. Okay? So, look at 2023 from a superlative perspective, from a superlative angle, from a superlative faith, and from a superlative passion. Build your passion. Build your passion for life. Build your passion for your goal. Build your passion for the things you do. Build the passion you need to be successful, and you will forever be successful because you are a success. Thank you.